All right, everyone, welcome. If you're planning a career in auditing, what we're going to talk about today isn't just some niche topic. It's a core skill you're going to need from day one. We're digging into how your clients use information technology. And trust me, this isn't just for the IT auditors anymore. It's absolutely fundamental to a quality audit in a world that, runs on data. So let's dive right in.
This right here, this statement, gets to the very heart of it all. See, back in the day, you could kind of treat a company's computer systems like a mystery black box, but that's just not possible anymore. So many transactions are started, processed, and recorded entirely inside these systems. Ignoring what's going on in that box, that's not an option. It's a massive audit failure just waiting to happen.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, auditing around the computer. We'd check the paper trail going in, check the printout coming out, but we wouldn't dare look inside. But on the right, that's the modern mandate. We have to audit through the computer. That means we have to get our hands dirty and actually understand the system's internal logic, its automated controls, and all the unique risks that come with them.
So, to really get a handle on this new world, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about why the old methods are totally obsolete. Then, we'll get into the new regulatory rules. After that, we're going to deconstruct the IT environment, go on a hunt for what could go wrong, and figure out how to build a foundation of trust. And finally, we'll tie all of this back to the end goal, the audit opinion itself.
So what made the old ways so dangerous? It's simple, really. As businesses went digital, the audit trail itself went digital. If you were just checking paper, you were missing where all the real action was happening. Systemic errors, or even fraud, could be happening at machine speed, completely invisible to an auditor who's just looking at the printouts. The auditing profession saw this huge risk and made a really strategic shift in its standards. Now, this wasn't just about piling on more busy work. No, this was a fundamental rethinking of how we find and assess risk in an age where that risk is, more and more, digital.
And the main driver here is a standard you'll get to know very well, ISA 315. Honestly, you should just think of it as the new rulebook for modern auditing. It explicitly requires auditors to get a much deeper understanding of the client's information systems and the specific risks that IT brings to the financial statements.
Okay, so if we can't just bypass the black box, we have to break it down, right? The good news is that any IT environment, no matter how ridiculously complex it seems, can be broken down into a few core, understandable parts. Let's take a look at what they are.
Every single IT environment rests on these four pillars. You've got the applications, that's the software doing the actual work. The infrastructure, that's the foundation it all runs on. The processes, think of those as the rules of the road. And of course, the personnel, the people who manage the whole shebang. As auditors, we have to get a handle on each one to really see the full picture.
Let's kick things off with applications. These are the engines of financial processing. I don't care if it's a massive ERP system like SAP or just a simple accounting package like QuickBooks, these programs are where transactions are born, where they live, and where they get recorded. Our whole understanding of risk starts right here.
Now, this is a really key distinction you have to get. The type of application completely changes our audit focus. On the left, you've got your commercial, off-the-shelf software. With these, the core programming is usually pretty reliable, so our risk focus is on how it was set up and configured. But on the right, with custom-built software, the risk is much, much higher. We have to worry about the actual code and whether it was designed and tested properly from the get-go.
Next up is the infrastructure, the network, the servers, the databases. This is the digital foundation of the whole company. And think about it. If this foundation is cracked, like if a database admin can just go in and directly change financial records without leaving a trace, then any control you have in the application itself is completely worthless. It's totally undermined.
Okay, so with that anatomy in mind, we can finally start our hunt for risk. The guiding principle, the question you should be constantly asking yourself as an IT auditor is, what could go wrong? We even use the acronym WCGW. This framework is exactly how we translate some technical IT weakness into a potential financial misstatement.
These what could go wrongs usually fall into four main buckets. We ask, could someone get unauthorized access to the system? Could someone make unauthorized changes to programs or data? Is the company relying on a system that's actually processing things incorrectly? Or have they failed to make necessary changes, leaving the system vulnerable or just plain wrong?
Here is a perfect real-world example. The IT risk is that an accounts payable clerk has access they really shouldn't have. So what could go wrong?
Well, they could create a fake vendor in the system and start paying fake invoices to a bank account they control. Now, and this is the important part, let's connect this to the audit. This directly impacts the occurrence of session. Did that expense actually happen? And of course, the accuracy of the financial records. See? You can draw a straight line from an IT weakness to a potential mess on the financial statements.
So how do we ever get comfortable that these risks are being managed? The answer lies in something called General IT Controls, or GITCs for short. These controls are the absolute bedrock of trust in any IT environment.
GITs aren't about one specific transaction. They are what we call pervasive controls that affect everything. They're the policies for how you grant access, how you manage changes to programs, and how you run the systems day to day. If these are solid, we can start to trust the data coming out of the system. If they're weak, nothing else matters.
We usually look at GITCs across three main areas. First, access controls. Who can get into the system and what can they do once they're inside? Second, change management. How are systems updated and is it done in a controlled, secure way? And third, IT operations. Are the systems actually running correctly and is someone monitoring them to make sure?
And this is the most crucial takeaway of the day. If those general IT controls are weak, the entire house of cards just collapses. We cannot place any reliance on any automated calculations, any system-generated reports, or any automated checks within the applications. A failure in GITs has this massive, cascading effect on our entire audit strategy. It's a huge deal.
All of this brings us to the final and, frankly, the most important part, connecting our understanding of IT to the ultimate goal of the audit, which is forming our opinion. This is the so what of all this work. Why does it matter?
Well, our understanding of the client's IT environment directly shapes the entire audit. It tells us whether we can trust their automated controls, which in turn tells us how much other testing we need to do. It's a key part of our risk assessment. And fundamentally, it's what allows us to provide any meaningful assurance in a world that is completely run by technology.
I'll leave you with this final thought. In an age where financial reports are spit out by complex systems, we, as auditors, have to constantly ask this question. If the code is flawed, if the configuration is wrong, or if the underlying controls are weak, can the numbers ever really be trusted? The integrity of every single number is at risk, and that right there is why understanding IT isn't optional anymore. It's the new paradigm of auditing. Thanks for watching.